We're with Frank Shorter, a running legend, 1972.
Living's the operative word.
Living after a very hot Dexter Ann Arbor run today. Hey, what brings you back to Michigan, Frank?
Well, Mitch Garner, who I've known since college, we've run together over the years, and he was really instrumental in bringing the Masters 10K championships here. So they invited me to come, and coincidentally, there's now going to be an even closer connection with Ann Arbor because my son Alex and his wife Kira Barton and my new granddaughter Adeline, who's 4 months old, are going to be moving to Ann Arbor in the fall.
Fantastic.
They just got their PhDs from Illinois, that other place, in mechanical engineering. She's going to be a tenured professor, research person here, and he's got a 3-year research grant. So they're going to be in Ann Arbor for probably at least the next 6 years, so I'll be back here.
Well, you spent some quality time here in Michigan back in the day, including with a couple of fellows very familiar to us in the state, Greg Meyer and Herb Lindsay. Tell me about your rivalry with these guys.
Well, you know, it was interesting because I had a store in East Lansing for many years. It was run by a guy named Bill Mueller, and right across the street, 217 Ann Street, right across the street from the Michigan State campus. And eventually I got out of the running store business, the retail business, because anyone who has a store like that, you know it's a 24/7, 365 ma and pa operation. So once I got out of that, I sort of left Michigan for a while, and I, in a way, lost track of Herb, but I just came up, his brother-in-law came up to me this morning and said, oh yeah, Herb's teaching and doing well, and his last child is going to be out of college. And
oh my.
So it was nice to catch up. It's nice to know Herb's doing well. And I see, you know, the other person I always ask about, who no one really can tell me about, is Gordon Minty, who is from from Eastern Michigan, because he was a great runner. He was one of the all-time shufflers. He and Alberto Salazar ran sort of like they were sitting down in the Porta-John.
But they could move.
They could move. And Gordon and I used to have some great races when we'd put on our races here. But really the happiest I was, and Greg Meyer obviously, who's really who's emblematic of running in Michigan and done so much for the sport here. So yeah, it's going to be more and more. I'm going to be here more and more. And I have a new hip. It's about 1.5 years old now, and today was the first day I really felt like a runner again out there. So it was good. There's a lot of relearning to do, but you know, the option is, it's like when I have my back fused. You know, yes. If you've had an injury, come ask me. I've had it.
Okay.
I can help you out. And
not all of them are running related. Some are congenital, right?
Yeah, the hip, knees and hips are congenital. The hip, because I was doing duathlons because of my bad back, and I went down on the bike. And anybody who rides expensive bikes knows when you're going down, your instinct is to put your body between the bike and the road. And so I hit right here. That was about 20 years ago. Last year it finally got to the point. But you know, for all of you out there who are trying to stay out and you have injuries, I always view it as being lucky. It's not unlucky I had to have my hip done. I was lucky that it came along at a time when there's a new procedure called resurfacing, which they more like cap it like a tooth, which allows me to run.
Sure.
So whenever, and I'm a cancer survivor, I don't publicize that, but I came along at a time when the treatment and everything else involved with it was state-of-the-art and new, and again allowed me to continue and go on. So yeah, I've had my downs, but I've always seemed to have them at lucky times.
Sure, and you were able to make it out here on a hot day and a tough hilly finish. What'd you think of the course?
Great course, because even on a hot day there's a lot of shade. You can kind of run it not only in mile increments, but sort of in geographic increments. You recognize places going out and coming back, so it kind of helps you run from point to point. And the last hill here is really not that steep. It's just, in fact, it's probably just the right steepness for hill repeats. You know, it's not so much that you really have to feel like you're running uphill, you just have to work a little harder. So the hill's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good course. Yeah, now I have to ask, who won?
Who won?
Did Mubarak Hussein win the Masters?
Mubarak Hussein was the winner, a little bit over 31. He was hoping to be closer to 30, but you know, he still looked pretty strong. He usually does.
Yeah, it was a hot day. I saw him coming back, and he was battling somebody, but he was in the lead, and he looked like he was doing pretty well.
Well, Frank, you're 63, almost 64.
Right, yeah, and the whole point, you know, I made at the start to you know, all the runners is, I think everybody in that Masters championship race was doing something that their parents would have never thought to do. And so, you know, there's been a paradigm shift in the attitude towards what's old, and what's inactive. You know, it used to be, my parents, I know when they were 63, they felt old, they acted old, and they were old. So we're not.
You're out there doing a 10K on tough hip, tough body all around and having the time of your life.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Where's the beer tent?